I'm Jewson, I'm out of the UK, been diving nearly 40 years now, from starting very early open circuit, trimix, deep trimix, moving to rebreathers about 24 years ago. Was one of the first people in the UK to buy a commercially available rebreather, which was a Cisluna Mark V. Our passions, myself and my wife, is deep wreck diving. That's what we enjoy doing, that's what we do, and videoing deep wrecks. I'm the Chief Technical Examiner for the British Sub-Aqua Club, and I'm an IT on a number of different rebreathers. Predominantly I teach students for fun, I don't do it commercially. I dived the Cisluna Mark V, which is the very first of the real electronic rebreathers that came out. Very complex, very capable. I'd had that for over 18 years and it was decided I needed to replace it. I needed to upgrade it, change it, or get a slightly newer unit. I looked around the market and the thing that first drew me to the Liberty was the build quality. The quality of the engineering, how it was made, how it was assembled. It looked a good piece of engineering. I'm an engineer by trade, so I looked at the engineering, then looked into the detail of the operation, the redundancy of it, the modularity of it that enables me, if I'm somewhere like this and I break something, I can change it out. I looked at a lot of rebreathers, but I chose the Liberty because it was following along more like my Cisluna was in the quality of build and design. So that was the reason I chose Liberty. I see the biggest change in rebreathers is the type of people who are moving to them. The rebreathers have got the technology. There's lots of new technologies coming out on rebreathers. The next biggest step will probably be solid state oxygen cells, because oxygen cells are the pain of most rebreather divers. Moving to solid state, reliability of the solid state. It's only going to be refining of what we've got today. Getting lighter, getting more resilient to, and I'll use this term, user faults. What the user does wrong rather than what the rebreather does wrong. The very early days of rebreather diving, there were very few units out there. I bought the Cisluna for similar reasons. I liked the Liberty, was the build, the quality, and the people who designed it were pushing it to the extreme. So it was a well-made, well-engineered unit. Very expensive in those days, but it's something that has done its time. I've had it 18 years. I still have my Cisluna and it still works, but it's too big. It was very large, very heavy, and unfortunately now travelling on airlines, weight is a problem. So it's not practical to travel with the bigger, heavier units. So one of the developments has to be the units getting lighter and easier to travel with, because a lot of people dive in their own country, but I like to go and dive on holiday with them. So getting them more easy transportable is where one of the biggest changes has got to come. The new Liberty Light is definitely going in the right direction. When that comes to market, it will be very interesting to see, because it will be much lighter, significantly lighter, but it will still have all of the resilience and the functionality you need for a technical deep dive rebreather. So yes, when it comes to market, the weight they're talking about will make travel much easier. Think about why you're doing it. What's making you transition from your current open circuit diving into rebreather diving? There are lots of reasons for it, but understand why you're doing it. Don't do it just because, as I said, you think make you superhuman. It could be all your friends are going to it and it makes logistic diving much easier, but normally, are you into photography? Do you just want to get closer to marine life? Do you just want to make it easier to go away for a weekend logistically wise, getting gas and what have you? It's just, what's your reason for doing it first and foremost? Once you understand that, hey, it's very easy to go to rebreathers. And more importantly, make sure you're going to have the ability to dive regularly. Rebreathers don't work well if you're only diving them once every so many months. You need to, especially in the beginning, you need to have the ability to dive it regularly to make sure you've got your skills and drills up. If you're only going to dive once every 6 months, a rebreather is not for you. My advice there comes from a gentleman called Richard Pyle, who made a very clear statement. It is absolutely true. You start off on a rebreather, you slowly build your hours. When you get to about 50 hours on the rebreather, complacency can kick in. Think, oh, I've done 50 hours, this is easy. And this is something Richie Pyle identified years ago, was at that point, something will probably go wrong because you are complacent. Always think that something could go wrong, and always plan for it, and be very, very attentive when you build and assemble units. Don't take shortcuts, follow your checklist, make sure it's assembled right. Sort the problem out on the surface, not try and sort it out underwater. And that's the problem, it's mainly complacency. Once you've done your first set of hours, you think, great, this is easy. I'll now go and do something way outside what you've ever done before. So just build your experience gradually and watch it about 50 hours, because that's when you think this is easy. That's a hard question, because there's lots of places over the years we've dived around the world. Easily accessible and stunning, because my passion is wreck diving, is probably Truck Lagoon. Bikini Atoll is even better, but it's extremely expensive and difficult to get to today. But Truck Lagoon, because it gives everything from a reasonable mid-lane sports diver and above diving capability, and they are big wrecks. My passion is wreck diving and videoing wrecks, so Truck Lagoon is probably one of my favourites. The wrecks are changing. So unfortunately, because of the age of the wrecks, they are starting to break up, but it means you can see different things. And it's a very comfortable location to do wreck diving, and if you want, there's some 60-metre stuff you can do out there. So it meets all type of people. It's just very nice diving. The Liberty software is very good. The actual structure of the system with the dual control systems in there gives you a lot of resilience. But the software itself, I have some people look at it and say, wow, the menu system is very complex. But the menu system in water is very simple. I like the control it gives you over the unit, that as long as you understand it, it goes back to having dived it, you can adjust, I'll use the term adjust, a lot of features of the unit underwater. Now, you never need to do this, but if you do have a problem, it gives you a very large capability of finding a way around the problem underwater, whereas on other units you might have to just do an open circuit bailout. There's nothing wrong with that, but the Liberty's got lots of stages you can go through within the software. It gives you an awful lot of access to systems, but some people say that's overly complex. Personally, I don't find it complex. So yeah, very, very thorough software, and it's being developed all the time. There's new features and stuff coming out, and what I do like is Liberty are very quick to respond. If you identify something that doesn't seem quite right, they'll issue a fix for it very quickly, and it's nice and easy to update on the Liberty once you've got the new software sent to you.